Welcome to the Podcast Maneuver, the officially unofficial podcast for Picard on CBS All Access. I'm Jim.
I'm A.Ron.
And we're here today to talk about Season 1, Episode 8, titled Broken Pieces. The shattered pieces of the Picard legacy lying broken on the floor. I don't know. I didn't care for this episode too much, if you can't tell. Yeah, I think, boy, I think the writing on the show is rough.
What do you think? I'm interested in exploring it with you because I actually like the majority of this episode. Some of the Rio stuff was kind of weird, but I've kind of prepared myself for them to integrate this novel form of casting. I especially anytime that Jurati's on screen and Agnes, now that she's a confessed murderer that's going to probably spend a significant amount of time on a penal planet, like I care about her even less. But I thought I thought the stuff on the Borg cube was cool. I really enjoyed Seven, becoming a temporary Borg Queen and having all of her children sucked out to space. I didn't enjoy that so much, but it was like an appropriately epic piece of sci-fi work. And, them kind of turning things over to Soji and using the Borg conduit to schlep around quicker seems like a cool idea. And there's no creepy Narek and the Rizzo scenes. So what more do you want?
There's a shitty Rizzo scene. That second scene where she's just expositing over the bed of her aunt or whoever.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Fucking terrible. It's trash.
Okay.
It's garbage.
All right. Well, let's get into it. You already said what you think.
So I think the Rio stuff is actually pretty good. I like enjoy the performances that he's giving of the 5 different holograms,
and he really is. There's it's not just the accent work. No. Like he's doing a lot, and to the extent that they do feel like distinct characters already, and I barely know them. Yeah,
and I'm starting to get on board with some of the stranger tone things that they're doing. Like one of those holograms is a close talker.
Yeah,
and frightens Rafi onto her bed, like at one point, just from talking closely.
I just think the center of gravity wouldn't hold. Like she just just toppled over. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that was really funny. And I really got into the tone of those scenes. I think there's some good stuff with Picard and Soji in this episode. The stuff I really, really think was just awful is, like I mentioned, that exposition scene. Anything with Jurati in this episode feels so bipolar. It defies any logic. It defies any character.
They might be making a point that she is a little crazy. This violent mind meld might have really fucked her up. So yeah, I'm kind of open to her. If she's constantly fighting the urge to put a phaser in her mouth and pull the trigger, then maybe her wildly dashing from binge cake eating to binge Rios fucking to to saying hell is coming and we need to get out of the way, to then being somehow delighted and with the specifics of Soji's anatomy. All of this shit is just so, it oscillates back and forth to these extremes, and it never finds its footing for me. See, this is the part of the episode where Jim is Riker and I'm Picard, and he just shut Data off, and I'm trying to prove that he's a man, and I'm like, this is looking real bad for my case here.
Just doing my job. I'm making my best case, Picard. If you can't bring it, it's not my problem.
Shall we open things up with this new Aya the grief world, the grief planet?
Yeah. I'm going to call it Aya because it's a lot like Gaia, the grief world. There's this initiation hazing, which is what I guess I would call it, where they force you to look into the eye of hell, to look into whatever Sam Neill saw on the event horizon.
Yeah,
O describes a cache of memories that the Zadvash have found, which contain memories of annihilation. And the group that I'm going to call the other warrior nuns, Romulan warrior nuns, because I think they're all female.
The Zadvash?
What becomes the Zadvash, yeah.
It does seem like they're all female for whatever reason.
They all look into it, they freak out, and they decide they need to start changing this future that they see.
I thought this was a really cool idea, and the perfect way to Scooby-Doo this prophecy shit, that you've got this long dead advanced civilization, just in the same way that one of the big concerns we have with burying our nuclear waste in the ground is man, you gotta come up with a way to warn people not to fuck around here for tens of thousands of years. And we talked about there's been all kinds of proposals of what kind of monument you'd have to build, what kind of containment facility. The fact that it is a super advanced race in their death throes engineered this octernary, like preposterous solar system just to attract the attention of an advanced spacefaring.
It's a really cool concept.
And bring into this pot where they have this thing called the admonishment, where if you look into it, you will see what happens if you embrace synthetic life. I thought, I mean, that's a really sweet, hard sci-fi concept. And the episode, I felt like, did a really good job leading off with that, because now I'm not freaking out about whether there's going to be like Romulan gods, you know, giving people divine revelations. Like, this is all...
They really put
nice
all of
sci-fi.
whoever the race is that left this message, they really like min-maxed their stats for physical control of the matter around them, and didn't do so much with AI, right? Like, I'm thinking if you tasked us, who are pretty close already to AI, that like hundreds of years, are we hundreds of years off maybe to generalized AI?
I think that's way conservative, but fair point.
Right. Super conservative guess. We, in a couple of hundred years, I really don't think we'll be to the point where we can create solar systems, star systems.
Yeah.
So like their ability to control their surroundings is so far above their development of AI.
You can move stars into different solar systems and put them into motion way. Like, they're bulldozing solar systems the way we do parking lots.
Yeah.
But they couldn't beat AI.
Right.
They
had just
crazy.
created AI, right? Because they talk about this threshold where there's a tipping point where you cross a line and the destroyers come and kill you for having created synthetic life, right?
Is that what it is? Or is that... See, I thought... I can't tell whether there is some cosmic cop that wakens up and kills a civilization.
That's what I thought it was.
I thought it's more of like an inevitable thing. Once you create AI, they take over. They become the destroyer. Because I don't think... They talk about Soji being the destroyer.
Yeah, Soji's the destroyer.
But it could... I mean, it could be either one, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, but she could be the thing that they call her the destroyer because she attracts the attention of the other race, maybe, that comes and kills them. I don't know.
So those are two, I think, interesting competing hypotheses. But I do like that this kind of neatly solves for me why AI isn't more advanced in the future. Like, if we make first contact with the Vulcans in, you know, a few dozen years, as outlined in First Contact, and, you know, you can see like how far we're advancing in AI. But what if like you get to 2060 something and, man, AI just hits a brick wall. We don't know why, but like all of our tests start failing because the Romulans are in super secret fucking with us and all of the advanced races to like put down artificial intelligence. That's a really cool concept, because in the 24th century, data should be like, data is probably going to look primitive compared to what we can do in another 100 years.
I would think so.
But I think that's these are really good, interesting things that expand the world of Star Trek quite a bit. Yeah. And I thought the actual ceremony of the admonition was fucking metal. Like, people ripping their faces, instantly shooting themselves. Oh yeah, I mean, beating their, like, stoning themselves. They really do a good job of showing why these people are fanatics. That like the people that are left are the ones that survived the phasers to the head and the head bashing.
Yeah. And might be a little Looney Tunes, at that point. Bit. Like,
I wish they played Liz or Rizzo as like cold and calculating and like completely unsentimental, rather than raging passions like barely controlled underneath their surface. Because after the admonition, she wasn't like, you know, she was very stone cold about it. I don't know why that didn't go into her characterization. Other than they didn't know in episode 3 probably what they were going to do in episode 8.
Man, after seeing the admonition, it strikes me that Jurati does not seem the type to have the mental fortitude to withstand the onslaught of this vision of hell. And yet she has. Of
course, O can probably maybe soft pedal it a little bit, because she gets to choose what the mind meld...
Does she?
Well, it's also interesting that she's only half Vulcan.
And this mind meld is a little weird. We'll maybe talk about it when we get there, when they describe it. But yeah, the mind meld is different, I think, than a lot of mind melds I've seen in the past. Spock's not going to try and do the same shit that O does to you.
Right. But she might just have a little bit less control. I remember... Like, I don't think it ever did it come up because like Lieutenant Savick in Star Trek 2 and 3, the movie, she's half Romulan, half Vulcan.
Is it Kirstie Alley?
Yeah, in the first one, and it's some other they recast her in the third. But she mind melds with Spock to like help him go through his first Vulcan. Rapidly aging Spock is going through Vulcan pond fire, the horny teenage phase they get every 7 years, and she mind melds with him. So it's possible, but I think there's something, especially in the novelization, about her not having as much control because she's not full Vulcan and she's not steeped in the Vulcan. So maybe she's just getting half a mind meld. So she's getting a vaccine dose rather than the live virus. Also, that Ramda, crazy religious Vulcan, was part of the crew that went down there to get the admonishment. And it seems like it affected her a lot more than Rizzo.
Yeah, and there's some discussion about that that we'll get to here in a bit. But also, I wanted to note that actually, let's save it for the next scene because we're about to go to Rizzo expositing over Ramda's bed and explaining how the artifact was disabled and what her and Narek's next moves are. So you mentioned that she was her aunt, and they also mention in this scene that, she mentions that her and Narek were taken as orphans by Ramda when they were young. And I look at that and I see sort of the mirror we've got going on with Picard, where he's taken in 2 Romulans who were refugees after the crisis. And I wonder if they're going to ever play with any of those toys, or if they just got them out of the tool chest not knowing what they were.
I mean, it's I mix my metaphors. If you're looking to go more than one season, it's nice to have that stuff just there as archetypes that you can always, delve a little bit deeper, because also they would have a lot in common with Elnor. That he's kind of like the good version of them being taken in. So, and you also have the 2 sisters, Daj and Soji, as as kind of like the similar types of relationship there. So yeah, they could do a lot with that if they want to.
They also talk about how Ramda and her crew, I guess, broke this Borg cube by the sheer force of their despair, which I'm not sure I understand how that works.
Yeah, like were these disturbed Romulans already disturbed? And she mentioned like they picked the wrong Tal Shiar ship that day, and she said, I wish they'd picked mine, which implies that maybe this was some kind of group effort of Tal Shiar to storm this Borg cube, or I don't know. And it also makes it sound like the Romulans didn't expect this to have this effect. Like they just picked hers, and she's so crazy that it drove the Borg cube insane.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought that you're supposed to understand that this was some kind of organic techno psychic virus that was uploaded, and as a result drove all the Romulans insane. But it seems like maybe not.
It sounds like it's the visions that they see. I don't know, because later Jurati kind of describes it as poison in her mind.
Right.
And I'm not sure how far she's trying to take that analogy. Is that, something that literally there's something that shouldn't be in her brain that's there now, or is it just what she saw was so vile?
She's getting her legal defense for first degree murder ready.
Right.
My mind was poisoned. Starfleet head of security put me up to it.
Okay, let's move on to Elnor being tracked down and captured, and then suddenly Seven shows up. She's responding to this Fenris Ranger beacon token thing just in time to save him.
Yeah, I thought the Romulan flashbang was cool. We got a little bit of blood sport blind fighting. And then, Seven showing up at the dramatically appropriate time.
Yeah. And you want to make it exciting.
Her way of absolute candor, his way of absolute candor, just goes up and gives her a bear hug. I thought that was pretty funny, and her being uncomfortable with it. Do you think that he's got a crush on Seven?
I don't know. His personality is so childlike that I'm in most ways. I'm not sure what to make of him in any moment.
It would make sense because he's being raised by this coven of like mother superior figures that he essentially grew up with from childhood. And then he meets this other kind of older, very attractive lady who's different. I could see him having confused feelings about that.
Yeah.
I'm also interested in seeing how much of a role Jeri Ryan continues to play, because it seems like she might be an important figure in the Star Trek universe now.
Yeah, when we get to some later scenes with her, I want to talk about the implications, the ramifications of her actions this episode.
Okay.
Because they could be awesome. Picard and Soji are back on La Sirena, and Rios can't concentrate when he sees Soji and tells Picard that he'll take him to the nearest starbase, but after that, he's out. You're on your own. Rafi tells Picard that Jurati is a Romulan spy, and they think she killed Bruce Maddox, which blows his fucking mind.
I love how he sold her on, like, you can trust me and to get things done. I've got this crew who loves me. And the second she beams up on the ship, the crew just immediately disintegrates. Like, Rios turns into the Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, Rafi pulls a gun on her. It's like the other person that you haven't met yet is sedated because she probably tried to kill herself and murdered the other person that was going to join our crew.
She'll probably try and kill you.
Yeah, you sold me a false bill of goods, old man. I'll go back to your ready room down in Troy World and take this new information into that decision.
Yeah, it's one of the things I was really thinking about this episode is, how do I feel about this crew? And at the moment, they don't feel like a crew.
Nah.
Like, I look back at, there's a lot of trust stuff here. Like, there's some good stuff later on when I think it's actually next scene when Rafi's trying to convince Picard that Jurati's trying to kill Soji and did kill Bruce Maddox, and he's in disbelief. He doesn't trust her, and there are a couple of lines that like really betray that. It's like when he's talking here in this scene, or when she tells him what's up with Jurati, he says, "Who is we?" Like she's got all this information that she's laying out in front of him, and then when he says like, she says something about like, we think she killed Bruce Maddox, and he's like, who is we? Mm-hmm. Which to me says, I don't trust you. Show me the person I'm gonna trust who can explain this to me, and I'll believe.
Yeah, you know what?
Which is a nice piece of writing. It's just in those moments, like they get some of these things right. But overall,
do you think I'm crazy? Because I feel like they really are going for Firefly, or
yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's not
this
Firefly,
crew feels like Mal and Jane.
Oh, it is
like,
Firefly, yeah. Like the early goings before
right
they
down
had
to where you've got the spy in the midst, right? Like you've got this girl who you're not sure,
but even the
is going to flip a switch and kill somebody.
Even the sets, like you look at the mess hall area, and it's very industrial. You've got like this lush, comfortable, rich setting, which was like Inara's bed chambers versus Picard's ready room. You've got the like super hygienic medical bay area. You've got like they've got all in the like the bridge. You've got all these distinct areas, and it reminds me so much like 1-to-1 of Firefly. And I think they're going to that kind of ragtag motley crew that's going to have a few touch and go experiences where they have to trust and rely on each other, and then they're going to turn into. Yeah,
it's just that we're almost at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to feel a little more comfortable in this space, more comfortable with these characters by now.
It is weird that you also have like two Mals. Like Rios and Picard are almost occupying the same role, except for I guess Picard's more of a shepherd type.
Yeah, I was trying to think who the hell Picard would be.
He's the Firefly like crew. He's not the captain, but he can get the crew on his side in a hurry. And then what's the captain going to do besides grouse about my fucking ship? Probably what he'll do.
So then we go to, I guess, sick bay, where Picard's having a very hard time believing that Jurati was a spy, even though there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here. Rafi's skeptical of the new passenger and asks Picard if he even knows Soji.
I was shocked that the EMH just turned on and started tattling on Agnes. Like, where the fuck were you like immediately after this, man?
Yeah.
She killed a crew member by your lights. I don't know, the way you even described it, it's like, she turned me off and then she turned off this thing, and but it's like he was like hesitating to say that like she actually killed him. It's just weird. I would have been much preferred if they just hacked him and he has no memory. Like, what do you think happened? I don't know. My memories is gone for that hour or something.
No, all the writing on this show strikes me as plot first stuff. Just totally ignoring any kind of details or character beats that they need to hit. It's like what are we doing in this scene? Oh, I don't know. We need to get to this other scene. So why don't we just have this character do this thing? That they maybe should have done 4 scenes ago.
Yeah.
Or they should never do if we didn't have them do it 4 scenes ago. Yeah. It's this show is really, really sloppily written.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know whether it's the talent or they didn't have enough time. Because a lot of it also feels like first pass kind of.
Right.
Like, what's the first idea we can come up with to make this happen? Okay, let's do it. In some cases, it's just like literally extras. Like a character we've never met gives them a tip to what planet to go to.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's cool. Like, they have cool ideas.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, this stuff with the Zadvash is actually pretty cool, but like, it's all about execution on shows like this. And I don't know. This episode didn't really do it for me. So then we go to Picard requesting that Clancy put him in command of a squadron, and she does. Maybe we should talk about this scene a little bit, because I think there's some speculation that this squadron is not going to be super friendly to Picard.
Well, I don't think they're even going to meet up with him, because it seems like at the end Soji's going to take him into the Borg conduit and go right to the planet, no stopping by Deep Space 12, right?
Yeah, I just think Picard he's
playing this like he won.
Diluted.
Yeah, like at the end of the scene, he high fives himself, and he's clearly delighted that he got Clancy to do what he wanted him to do. But
yeah, I
could believe it, because okay, here's the thing. I think Admiral Clancy is on the side of Angels. Her conversation with O seemed to hint towards that. How much has O infiltrated the Federation? Like, to what extent are we going to see?
To the extent where they can sanction a hit on a first contact, through whatever Rios' old commanding officer's name was. Yeah, that's a lot of power.
I'm wondering, like, if we see the fleet, the squadron in action, and like there's a Lieutenant Rizzo on board, like I'm going to be suspecting like sabotage and dropping shields and all kinds of shit.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
We will. I don't think I'm trying to recollect if Picard has ever called anyone a waste of space before, which he does in this episode. Let me ask you this: are they going to go to this arrogant, bullheaded Picard joke every single time he interacts with Clancy?
Seems like
because it's already starting to get old.
Oh, really? I thought this was pretty funny. The fact that he was making argument after argument, and
yes,
he just needed to shut the fuck up.
And I get it, but that's what they have done the last 2 times. The only 2 times that these two have met. Third time's not a charm in this case.
Yeah.
Third time might be too far. Let's back off that joke.
Well, if you're right about the squadron being betrayed, I imagine the next time they talk, it'll like she might even like. Would she command the squadron? Because I could see her like literally dying for this mistake, and then in which case,
do admirals typically command squadrons that go out in the field?
Usually, if you have more than one ship, you need a captain of captains, and that's either a Commodore. It could be a Commodore. Commodore O is going to personally, going to take this shit seriously. She's going to personally command the squadron.
Seems risky.
Yeah, forget that's the real red flag. Forget about Rizzo.
We'll see. So then Rafi goes to tell Rios about Jurati, but she mistakes Enoch, the emergency navigational hologram.
I think it's just like, I don't know what's the emergency. It seems like this is just crew when you need it, and it's a default setting of the ship. Like, why is it emergency?
Is there such a thing as a hospitality emergency?
No,
that's what I want to know.
No, it should just be. I don't know why they're leaning into the emergency. It's to have a connection to the Voyager emergency medical hub, but that made sense. Like, the fucking Voyager had a chief medical officer that got killed. So in an emergency, you need the medical officer.
It's just that emergency lasted 7 seasons,
exactly,
right? Because they were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So like, what is these guys are just the crew. There's there's no primary. It's just they're the you call them secondary or maybe but emergency. I don't know.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, she mistakes Enoch for Rios and tells him all about Jurati, and then she shows Enoch a drawing that the Romulans were doing of 8 circles, and he explains the concept of an octenary star system to her, and she connects some dots.
Apparently, there's some ancient Romulan star charts that claim that there was a 8-star system, but can't trust those apocryphal Romulan star charts. Like, what does that even mean? Ancient like, did they? I'm thinking like, did ancient and what does ancient mean when you're talking about starfaring Romulans?
I feel like did
they have like scrolls, like map scrolls that have been?
If you were to look at one of those Here Be Dragons maps from 300 years ago or something, you'd be looking at essentially what this is,
right? Like if someone in the 24th century were talking about 21st century star charts, would they say? Yeah, like this shit's on the internet. You're talking about like Google Sky Map, like what are we talking about here?
Yeah. The sky view of that octenary star system is fucked up. It's really cool. You should go look at it. Then Rizzo finds out that Seven is helping Elnor, and Seven goes to a room where she monkeys with the Borg cube systems, claiming she's stealing it, and the cube begins regenerating.
Yeah, go hotwire this baby and take off.
Yeah.
It's gone in 60 minutes.
This gets me super excited, and maybe we can start talking about it here. Do you think there's any chance that Picard ends up as part of the crew on a Borg ship?
Oh, wow.
How fucked up would that be? Talk about being in hell.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Being forced onto a Borg ship.
That would be wild. I do think like she just became the ultimate Fenris Ranger, though.
Oh yeah,
like Seven Borg cube. Big upgrade from the little fighter skiff she had. Now she's just tooling around in like a partially regenerated Borg cube. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
A lot of potential here.
Yeah,
I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, let's see how they squander it.
All right. Picard and Soji talk about how hard it is to figure out who she is now that she knows her memories are fake. And Picard says that she has a story that's waiting to be discovered, and then tells her about Data. And Soji, it seems to affect Picard, says that Data loved him. I don't know why this would affect him coming from someone who doesn't know either of them. Yeah,
but like they've also got this mechanic where the more she knows, the more she knows. So like I don't know whether this just jogged a neural connection and now she's got some fragment of Data because she's already doing the head nod. They've established that she couldn't
have met Data.
No, but like what does that even like? She could just have all of his primary coding locked away in some secondary function of her positronic fucking brain. Like.
Maybe.
I think that's what they're going for. Okay. Is like after Picard starts talking about him and she has this unique, ineffable insight, she does about it. But you're right. You're right. I thought it was a great scene up until that part because I was kind of like, oh yeah, he totally loved you. Like Picard's heart swells 3 times its size. What's
right? But you're right. I do love the stuff that comes before it. Picard. Recognizing that he's similar to Data in some ways, especially when it comes to showing his emotions to his crew, right?
His capacity for expressing and processing emotion was limited. I suppose that's what we had in common. That's a great line, and it really shows how really rigidly compartmentalized Picard was with his crew.
Yeah. And that's all over TNG. Like that. Oh yeah. That strikes me as just so Picard.
That was one of the fun things about Vosh is like that's whenever her character would show up, the crew got to see the other sides of their captain that he always tried to hide.
And literally tried to hide even that when she was on board.
Mortified him.
He fell for another woman and played her the flute, like this musician. And like they dealt with those issues, right? Like they said, okay, we can't do this sneaking around thing. And whatnot. Ultimately, they decided to take their careers over their mutual love.
Of course.
Yes, and it's moments like this where I look at it and I say, man, they have some really nice moments in this show. Some really good moments of writing. They just can't quite connect everything.
Yeah, and I do think these people are genuine Star Trek fans. I was watching last week's Ready Room with Will Wheaton, and he had Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner on, and that was just a really fun episode to watch. But all 3 of them talk about, like, I guess Frakes didn't direct that episode, but he was in the room while they were shooting, like Data and Picard playing poker, and he said that Shaban and Akiva, I don't know the big three that's running Star Trek now, were just kind of like in the wings, like how cool it was. And it's like, well, okay.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes that can be a detriment if like someone's too like much of a fan. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe their heart's in the right place and they just don't have the talent or the budget for
Yeah, I would believe that these people are big Star Trek fans. Like the references they're making just tell me that this is not someone who just binge watched The Next Generation and picked up a few things. And
they do nail those. Like every once in a while, there's set up something like this, which is a really good scene for Patrick Stewart, and the dialogue's reasonable, and they knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. All right, then Rafi meets Ian, the engineering hologram, and asks where Rios is. He's hiding in his cabin. Ian says that Rios knows Soji from somewhere. And Rafi talks herself into the idea that the octenary star system would have to be built, and you'd only want to do that if you were trying to leave someone a warning. Mm-hmm. This is a Scotty homage, right?
It's got to be. Like, you got a Scottish engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Like
and it makes sense because like these, the old series crew to like future generations are kind of like, the World War II generation. Like everyone's going to know about, Patton and Eisenhower and, I haven't been a while, but like they found Scotty in some kind of transporter buffer in a Dyson sphere.
They did.
Did I forget what? I know Geordi was annoyed with him by the episode being over, but like, was there any kind of like hero worship with?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I thought but so.
It very quickly, turned to like
he's
annoyance with this guy who just wants to tell his old war stories. Essentially,
right.
And I think they give him a shuttle and send him off somewhere.
Like, I wonder if, like, in this universe, they have, like, fictionalized novelization accounts that, like, all of Starfleet Academy reads. And, so, like, Rios is thinking, I need a chief engineer. Oh, yeah, make him me, but Scottish.
Yeah. And then Rafi tries to get a drink, but she blocked booze from her replicator. Big mistake.
Good move. Good for you, Rafi. Still, no one's blocking her from the snake leaf pipe.
No, no. She can replicate all the snake leaf she wants.
Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't feel like I got a good handle on the relative harm of snake leaf. Because like I first thought it was like just space marijuana, which like, okay, cool. But then they make it seem like it's a big deal, but then the crew just doesn't care that she's smoking, vaping that thing at the helm. She's vaping that thing around the dinner table. Like nobody.
Mission critical operations.
Yeah. Why she's trying to analyze data to figure out this conspiracy. Like, snake leaf's it's all right.
So the emergency hospitality hologram explains that how all the emergency holograms are created and why they don't have all the knowledge of each other. And then he says that Rios needs someone to talk to, and someone who doesn't look like himself, crucially. Someone who looks more like Rafi.
What do you think about the rationale for all these holo things? That there's a default setting and you can essentially customize their looks, and he accidentally made them all look like him, and
I kind of like it.
Then went through and like, hey, I don't want these guys to bring up painful things, so I'll just selectively delete the shit that they know. I think it mostly makes sense too.
Yeah, it would be weird having 5 versions of me around with different accents, with half of my memories. It might get old pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think I might end up tweaking the defaults a little bit at some point.
Yeah. Maybe I just thought maybe snake leaf comes in varieties. Like you got the cottonmouth.
Is this the hallucinogenic kind she's on?
You get the cottonmouth that puts it in the couch. You got the viper, makes you hyper. Maybe she's just sticking with the viper strain, and they don't care so much.
Yeah, could be. So then Rios drinks a lot in his cabin and busts out his memory box, which contains a drawing of him and Soji together. Dun, dun, dun.
I love his collection of mermaids. He's got like a glass blown mermaid from every starport and planet scattered around, because that makes sense. The siren.
Yeah.
And then he's got the Starfleet locker with his uniform, of course, a cigar box full of mementos, and then the shocking reveal that he served with Captain Mike Pence. I can only assume it's the clone of Mike Pence, like Mike Pence the sixth, but this guy's fucking still kicking around in the 24th century. Can you believe it?
I did notice a couple of other things in his lockbox here. He has a lot of pips,
More than will fit on a collar, right?
Absolutely.
I thought so too.
Makes me wonder, like, are they using pips and communicators as like dog tags? Did these belong to his fallen comrades or his captain?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they're his and the captain's pips.
The other option, I guess, would be that maybe these are his as he moved up through the ranks. But I think I wouldn't think they would replace all of your pips. They just add to them.
You just keep getting more pips.
So this might be his old ones and his captain's old pips.
Yeah. He's got a communicator. I don't know if that'll ever be important, but...
Yeah, we'll see. Then we go to Seven, who figures out how to create a micro-collective on the ship, but she's not sure she wants to because the ramifications of assimilation, both for the re-assimilated Borg and herself.
Yeah, and she knows firsthand, like, being deborgified is not easy, and... Of course, I'm ignorant of Voyager. That's a big revelation, yeah. I'm not sure if Seven ever got a chance to step into the Queen's throne, but it seems like something that she knows would be seductive too, having that much power at your fingertips
and
at your spinal fusions.
And also not just power, but like that connection to so many people. And this is why there's one thing that they do really fucking well in this episode, and it's when Rizzo launches all of those Borg into space. She didn't have to wait that long. She didn't have to wait until Seven connected to those Borg, but she did.
I thought it was deliberate too. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's dark.
Yeah,
I want you to feel the collective pain of all of these Borg being shot into space.
Yeah, as you're connected to them.
Yeah. I have to imagine that connection is pretty intense when you're in a hive mind situation.
Oh, it's got to be.
And then we go to Rafi gathering all of the emergency holograms and Picard's study to try and figure out how Rios knows Soji. And there's something that happened on his old ship, the Ibn Majid, I don't know how to pronounce it, which caused him to suffer a mental breakdown afterward.
And we already knew that all records are classified, and they all have bits and pieces of it, but no one's got the full answer.
I don't have the full answer either. I really want to know at the end when she says, I mean, it's not even the language, what she means. Are they just taking a shot at the Scottish accent?
Yeah, it's like Scottish people Twitter on Reddit. Like, you know, they do. Everyone's like, this is all recognizable
is that
English.
Funny and cool?
I think it's
taking a shot at somebody because they have an accent is strange to me, but okay.
I don't know. There's good way. I don't know. Because like, honestly, I've seen like some Scottish people uncomfortable with it too. So I just think that there's something interesting to an English speaking person where you've got this language that's so close but not quite, but you can understand them, and then every once in a while they go so deep into vernacular that like I can tell there's a subject and there's a predicate and there's a verb, but there's so much shit in there that you don't get. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel very Star Trek to me because Star Trek would have crazy aliens who sometimes don't speak English, most of the time do. With the perfect, American accent and dialect. But Picard and Star Trek in general never really pointed at them and laughed and said, oh, it's so weird and funny that you have this accent or that you have this weird cultural affectation or something like that. This feels like a different Star Trek, and I need to just, I guess, start getting my head around the fact that these people are not Starfleet. They don't hold the same values.
They are not, no.
Yeah, they maybe don't
adhere
to the same protocols. They're high on snake leaf 98% of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's on me, I guess. And then Jurati wakes up.
Do you think it's weird that they actually, like... Did they still have accents in the 24th century? Earth has been united as a global government for so long that... Although I guess if you have universal translators... and no one bothers to learn a second language, then maybe that would blunt some of that. But I would think there'd be like an Earther dialect that's distinct from like a Vulcan dialect and Ron. But like most of these worlds would kind of like all sound the same. So the idea that you'd have this like blend of Gaelic and English the way it is in the 21st century, I mean, that shit's already dying out. I bet you could have like something around like planets. Yeah, you might have an Earther dialect. You might have like a Martian dialect. Like The Expanse does with the Belters. That kind of stuff when you're separated by physical space. Right.
But you're right. The Earth would be so blended at that point, hundreds of years from now, that it wouldn't be recognizable really to us.
Yeah.
It'd be something more homogenized.
Yeah, like even Chekhov with his heavy Russian accent and Scotty with his, heavy Scottish burr. Feels kind of anachronistic, but
a little bit. So then Jurati wakes up and Picard tells her that they're going to the base, DS-12, and she's going to surrender herself there for the murder of Maddox. And Picard can't understand why she'd do such a thing. So Jurati tells him about the mind meld with O, how it poisoned her mind with visions of hell caused by synthetics.
Picard's face when she asked him if he believes in hell is so good. I want to have Cecily capture that and make it into an image macro for me, because it's just a perfect, like, come on. What?
He didn't until Soji walked in and declared, I am Seb Chenab, destroyer.
Like, I was about to say, it's like, have you not read my file? I disproved the devil. Like, right. He came to George with this fiddle and I said, you don't exist, and poof.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
I believe in hell, and it's the bridge of the Enterprise when Q shows up.
Yeah, there you go. He's naked. He's dressing me up as a mariachi band.
Doing a flamenco dance. Yeah, Yeah.
Worf's like 6 women deep back there for some reason. Mm-hmm. It's hell. I don't like it. I've lost control.
Riker's all jealous. So there's a lot to talk about in this scene. This idea, like, this is some Event Horizon shit right here. Mm-hmm. When she's talking about hell and Picard repeats her, hell will come again. I'm just thinking of Picard tearing at his face, clawing at his eyes, going full Sam Neill in this scene. And I would love to see, I hope this goes dark. I hope it goes as fucking dark as these writers can take it. Because I would love to see 85-year-old Patrick Stewart dealing with hell.
Yeah.
Like, just in hell.
Yeah. Just go chew that scenery. Yeah. Chew it Shakespeare style.
How do you persuade? How do you talk to the devil? Like, Picard's tools won't work against the devil, right? You can't reason with the devil.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like, the devil's not real. The devil, they'll pull off his rubber space mask and it'll just be Soji.
But I don't know what this is. Like, that's the thing. I'm trying to think in these scenes, what could you show me that I would think was a literal hell? That would make me claw at my face and bash myself with rocks. I don't know that there's anything you could show me that would be the case, aside from some Lovecraftian thing that I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
And in that case, yeah, hell is probably an apt description.
What if, like, the AI arrange for, like, all of the stars in all inhabited star systems, the supernova bombarding the galaxy with gamma radiation and extinguishing all life except for synthetics? Mm-hmm. I think that's what they're going for. The idea that, like, trillions and trillions of people all dying at the hand of this thing that we created, and it's like, like I said, this goes to my bias towards how I interpreted this myth, but I thought Soji and her ilk are the destroyer collectively, not like a third party is going to come in and put the kibosh on it. But if you're wrong, if I'm wrong about that, and Seb Chenab is going to be an actual manifestation of some alien force that comes and tries to police the galaxy, then I don't know.
I said it's much worse than the Borg. It could certainly be
Borg are
the
fucking
synthetics.
Horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, Borg nearly exterminated the entire human race. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and I hope they do quite a bit with this concept, and it seems like they might. Mm-hmm. I also noticed that there seems to be some kind of difference here between the mind meld that O and Jurati experience versus what you would experience with, say, a Spock or a Sarek, in that she puts up this psychic block in addition to the mind meld, which keeps her from talking about it.
Yeah.
There's just a little extra spice on this mind meld.
First rule of mind meld: can't talk about mind meld.
Right. Yeah, she does instill the Fight Club rules here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious what else could be going on with her, and if it might explain some of the weird,
I think so,
bipolar
disorder
we see in Jurati.
Which I think, I don't know, this character, how the hell are they going to keep her out of prison? Like, I keep thinking that, like, she's a pretty famous person. She's a big name on the cast. Are they really going to write her off like Tasha Yar style at the end of the first season? Or are they going to come up with some horse shit, Maquis pardon type of thing, the like Janeway style, that like Picard will just find a way to have a murder on the crew. I mean,
because what if DS-12 is destroyed by the Zhat Vash Romulans?
And just, you don't know. But it's like, again, I don't know. Because Star Trek does do that sometimes, where it's like Worf will just straight up murder somebody, takes off his sash and his communicator, and like, I'm not Starfleet anymore. And Picard's like, hey, you can't fucking do this as a Starfleet officer. He goes and murders a dude, and Picard's like, well,
here's your commission back.
It's not the decision I'd make, but here's your, you turned in your badge while you did it. So like, there is a history of like heinous crimes being committed. I think Riker raped a woman, and they disproved that he murdered her husband, but they did not at all resolve the he said, she said rape scenario.
Right.
And Picard and Riker's like, didn't kill the guy. Woo, I'm out of here. So like, there's precedent for criminal behavior amongst the the bridge officers anyway.
Oh yeah. Let me ask you this. So we've got talk of Deep Space 12, which if you're familiar with Deep Space 9, these are kind of outskirts Starship or Starfleet bases.
Better, so
yeah, this is they have at least 12. I don't know how many they have now. Is there any chance that this is sort of them paving the road to get to a DS9 character or two in the future?
But why? Because Deep Space Nine is already weird because it's not even a Starfleet base; it's a Cardassian base. In fact, I'm going to kind of go ape shit if we roll up on Deep Space 12 and it looks like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Because
that's just like someone not understanding the fucking lore, man.
Right.
And I'm not talking Data's brother. I'm talking, the lore. So I don't know. And like, can you make a career just being a starbase guy? Like it's like going in the Navy and you're either, there's like three paths. You're either like a destroyer guy or you're an aircraft carrier guy, which means you're a naval aviator, or you're a submarine guy. And there's very little crossover in any of those paths. So like, hey, I got the O'Brien's like, shit, I got assigned to Deep Space Nine. I guess I'm a Starbase guy now.
Right.
So wanting to be a Starship guy, but
is Armin Shimmerman still alive?
Now that would be a good one.
Because you could do Quark. He might still be there running his operation.
Yeah, or he's trying to he's there trying to get a franchise off the ground.
He is still alive. Yeah, over at Deep Space 12. Like he got drummed off at Deep Space 9.
Yeah, he's just expanding.
Odo finally I don't know. Yeah, maybe he is expanding. Maybe he's franchising.
Yeah. Franchise Quarks. Maybe we can He tried the Vegas location. It went bankrupt, and now he's trying Deep Space 12.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably see like Odo might be a Starbase guy for life. I can see him being the constable at Deep Space Nine for a long ass time. Mm-hmm. He really enjoys it, especially when Quark's around.
Another version of Dax you could see there.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess I wouldn't put up too much a fight if like O'Brien shows up or something like that. He's just kicking around. He's a Starbase guy now.
Yeah, we'll see. So these next few scenes, I think structurally are really well written, though I'm not sure what they're doing with Jurati. I think this flip-flop of her emotional state is really weird. Doesn't strike me as a very coherent character, but structurally it's really cool how they're cutting back and forth between Rios telling Rafi that how he got kicked out of Starfleet after his CO killed a couple of synthetics in a Black Flag Starfleet operation, and he covered up his suicide afterward. And then there, on the other side of this, is Jurati asking Soji questions about her behavior and biology and promising that she would never try to kill her again. Structurally, I like how they're sort of making both of these reveals simultaneously. Because you've got, a guy who's tried to defend her and an assassin who promises never to try to assassinate her.
Yeah.
And how much you believe her, I guess, is up to you.
I do think that they're like, you're right. I like the structure and I like the dialogue, but I think there's a lot of stupid shit that they've introduced here because of their own timeline. So I understand that like this, what was her name? It's Jana.
Yeah.
This Soji clone and her other companion, which is named Beautiful Flower.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Like you got Beautiful Flower and Jana.
I was wondering if this was crazy. Like literally an alien that is like more plant than humanoid.
But I thought they were both synths.
Yeah.
It'd be like going like to meet a new...
It's like just a hippie synth.
It'd be like going to meet an Indian tribe and it's like, this is a Stormcloud and also my companion Frank. Like, what? You got a Beautiful Flower and Jana?
It was weird and I didn't fully understand.
And they're only together for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they probably had a whole banquet because that's what you first do the first contact. You say, hey, let's go eat. At some point, Rios got sketched, and then there was an assassination. And yet he had time to learn her preference as far as fries and peppermint ice cream. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's a lot of cultural exchange.
I mean, you got a banquet, a lot of shit sitting out.
I guess that's true.
You just watch.
Yeah,
what they're eating.
Yeah, was that like? Did she know that was her favorite? Like, you know, oh my God, you got French fries and peppermint ice cream. First contact situation here. Let's put these two great tastes together.
I mean, as well as the structure was created in this scene, this intercutting thing, I think it might have been better serviced by some flashbacks. It might have given us a little more insight into who Rios was. You know, as you mentioned, how this scenario even took place. Given us a lot more understanding of Rios if we had seen this rather than just having him explain it.
Honestly, I think they have done kind of a poor job of portraying Rios's pathos. Like he just is a guy that reads a bunch of highfalutin books on philosophy and nihilism and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it might have been nice to see him waking up from one of these nightmares he says he has all the time, where he sees his captain's brain splattered on the ground. He's got a gun. Like, it would have been kind of cool. They don't have to tell us why. They certainly don't have to introduce Soji's face into it, but it was a lot. It was in a single episode. They really moved this character a lot, and it's always better to kind of do that slowly and gradually, I think.
Yeah. I guess let's move on here to Rizzo killing a shitload of XBs. 7 notices and interfaces directly with the cube, becoming Borg Queen, I guess is what I would call her for the moment, to take over the drones. However, Rizzo opens the airlock. She's the emergency
temporary Borg Queen.
Rizzo opens the airlock, sending the Borg drones flying into space.
Oh, wow. That was, like I said, that's really metal when the whole fucking Borg cube unzips. And because I was like excited. I was like, holy shit, 7 leading an army of Borg against the Romulans. This is going to be so fucking cool. And as soon as I was thinking it, the whole thing just unzipped and sucks them out to space. And you see 7 screaming because, yeah, of course. I don't know what that feels like, but bad.
And then when I realized like this was the intention of Rizzo, I was like, oh, fuck. Dark. Really fucking dark. And then she just immediately bounces, right? Like I think she's trying to kill...
I don't know what the fuck happened to Rizzo. She got beamed magically away from certain death the previous episode. We don't really resolve that. Then
I feel like I missed something 3 episodes ago that says she just has this personal teleporter that takes her out.
Maybe. But yeah, like the Borg have her down, and I thought there was like, am I going to see like a zombie tearing a person apart scene in Star Trek? Like there's no brakes on this train now that they're online. Yeah. But no, she just fucking warped out again.
If anybody knows... Did I miss anything? Like, write in and let me know, because I'm genuinely confused about why she keeps being magically transported out at the right moment.
They explain it.
I thought it was Narek before, but obviously she never got transported over to Narek's ship, and Narek's nowhere in the vicinity now, so...
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
I think it's a season 6, episode 7 Voyager that you got to see.
There's like I'm gonna go watch 100 hours of Voyager this week. This is the straw.
Yeah, this Rizzo Romulan just appears in the bridge through some kind of hyperspace tunnel. And at some point...
Oh, is she being transwarped out? She's being transwarped out.
Yeah, obviously. At some point, B'Elanna installs a transwarp conduit up her ass, and then she gets time warped away. And boy, that was a weird episode of Voyager, huh? But you know, that's what you do when you try. You have the temerity to talk about Star Trek without having seen all of Voyager.
Oh God.
I want to talk about. We've skipped past it, but Agnes. Going over and marveling at Soji's design and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, Soji's like, so now that you know me, I know we've already talked about this, but I forgot now that you know me, are you going to kill me? And Agnes says, I swear, now that I know your person, I'll never... You just killed Bruce Maddox, who was a whole ass person that you were in love with. These assurances mean nothing, you crazy people.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? She's still the destroyer. That's why you killed Bruce Maddox. Maybe the mind meld's wearing off.
I mean, yeah, they pulled the tracking stuff out of her, right? The mind meld might be wearing off. I don't know, but there is absolutely no reason that Soji should believe her here.
No.
Absolutely none. She doesn't believe Picard, and Picard's Picard's A, been with her for more than 18 seconds.
Right.
And B, has shown nothing but care and love and kindness to her.
And hasn't in the previous 24 hours killed her lover and then tried to kill herself.
Right. It's fucked up. I don't know why she would believe her here.
But I think Soji's like, she says something like, I would never give you that opportunity. I hope she keeps her head on a swivel, because I don't trust Agnes further than I can
I don't either.
throw her.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I could
try and throw her quite a distance in 0G too.
That's true.
I don't
Just
know.
Open the airlock and really get her moving. All right. Jurati tells the crew that she's going to turn herself in when they get to DS-12, and she apologizes for betraying them. And the crew explains to Soji everything that Jurati saw in her vision and the creation of the Zhat Vash, as well as their involvement in the attack on Mars. Soji takes control of Rio's ship and points him at the nearest Borg transwarp conduit. There's some shenanigans here, but basically they end up going through that conduit. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of funny moments. I really liked Picard sitting down, head full of steam, ready to go, realizes he's never operated a starship in his fucking life, or since he was in the academy, right?
Yeah. He did steer the Enterprise out of that draining asteroid field.
He has, and every once in a while he takes over like vanity control of the helm, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll get in here and do this. I'm the captain. Of course I can do it at the best.
Yeah. He's a Lycar pro. He doesn't know the new finger wavy version.
That's true. Yeah.
I tell you what, Soji, she doesn't commandeer a starship nearly as well as Data. You got to lock out all access with like a 50 alphanumeric character phrase, man. Mm-hmm. You can't just like, I don't know.
You're a synth. Come on.
Yeah. You didn't see that nursery rhyme coming a mile away?
I really like the nursery rhyme.
I thought that was
something
cool.
that no one would ever guess. And it gives him instant control over his entire ship again, right?
I'm trying to think of like a band of Klingon pirates, and they've locked him out of his thing, and he just starts singing the song. Like, they're just going to punch him in the face and knock it. Like, you're not going to get through all 3 verses before they're just like, well, shut up, human.
A little long.
But, yeah, it's cool that he has like a super private lockout.
Yeah. I did talk about how kind of cool it is that this ancient race uses essentially a constructed solar system, star system to signpost their message for future generations, a lot of future generations. But if you think about how long like it would take to construct something like that, it tells me a couple of things about this destroyer phenomenon. Either the destroyers take their sweet ass time destroying things to where they have enough time to line up all these fucking planets or all these sun stars around this one location, or doing that is like scribbling a quick note to whatever civilization constructed that star system.
I think actually I have no problem with the latter, because like I already can't conceive the forces and technology required to do that, the thing that they did. Yeah. So the fact that they can do it in like the exact same way that the dwarfs scrumbled drums in the deep at, as they're dying in Helden's Deep, or Kazakh Doom, whatever the fuck. It's Lord of the Rings. Guys, we want to have Voyager fans. I got Voyager fans after me. We're gonna have fucking Tolkien fans after me. It's fucking the mine.
How would that work? Could you conceivably like transport planets into place? Could you just like figure out, okay, what are the orbital dynamics here? Transport these and just let gravity do its work. Because like that'd probably be the easiest way to move a planet, right? Just get a really big transporter buffer.
Or just create
stuff it full of a planet,
like create that star, that mass directly from energy, and you just have a ton of energy. But it is weird because I'm thinking like, okay, like imagine like a Q that's being killed, and he's like, I could believe a Q could do something like that, and it's the equivalent of scribbling on a wall in blood,
a fraction of a second.
But what the fuck could a synthetic life form do to Q? So it's like, it is wild that this is such a extreme threat that it can take out a society that can do these impossible things. It beggars the imagination.
Yeah, I'm really gonna be almost watching through my fingers to see how they try and pull off the explanation of how the power levels of these two things, right? Like, I don't
when the
know.
destroyer finally shows up, you're going to be disappointed when it's just Soji and devil horns.
Yeah.
She's just literally, wearing a Halloween prop.
And not so beautiful flower standing beside her. Yeah. Let's move on to Rizzo being ambushed and pinned down by the XBs and beamed out. Let's not dwell on that too much because it's just an action scene. Cool action scene. I kind of liked it. Then the Romulan fleet leaves and Seven declares the cube to be hers and detaches from the micro collective. Yeah,
like Elnor's. Are you going to assimilate me now? And she lets herself go because Annika has more work to do. Interesting. She's speaking of herself in the third person.
It's a very Borg thing to do.
She's still got a cube full of some half Borg and a cube. Like that's not nothing.
Oh yeah, a cube that seems like it's going to fully repair itself.
Yeah.
It's a formidable ship for sure.
Powerful ally to have.
And then
might be able to defeat a whole squadron of Romulan ships, you'd say.
Oh shit. Wolf DS-12. That doesn't work. All right, Picard and Rios talk about Captain Vandermeer, Starfleet's actions, and the dangers of synthetic life. And then Soji walks in and declares that they've arrived. And they go through the transwarp conduit. And they're followed by Narek. I think it's Narek's ship.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
How did he follow them?
I don't know.
They don't have the tracking thing anymore.
The fidget cube is also a synth tracking device too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great point because they thought they lost him. They didn't. It's interesting because they mentioned that this Borg conduit might damage the ship. I wonder what kind of hay they'll make with that. Like, are they going to arrive at this planet disabled, or what's going on with that? But
I don't know. It seems like Rios might have had that under control. Like he's telling her, "Oh, you're going to go through this without counting for gravimetric shear."
So he's going to do all that before. Yeah,
I think so. Like he's the pilot. He knows how to pilot a starship, where she might not.
I really like the scene though. I thought that Picard looking at the new warp effect is really cool looking, and then him reminiscing about standing night watch as an ensign, and then them bonding over the fact that his captain served with one of Picard's old Starfleet buddies, and then they talked about what we've been kind of discussing all season long: Starfleet's betrayal of their internal principles. It makes it very explicit that, in Picard's opinion, they have ran away from the things that made them great.
His line, all they have is fear, and fear is the great destroyer, not something which I assume he was going to say Soji until she walked in. But
we have openness.
This is the Picard I like.
Yeah, we have openness, optimism, curiosity. All they have is secrecy and fear. It's great. It's great.
And that is where we leave the episode.
Did she pull out that fucking broken compass and it pointed it towards the Borg conduit?
Jesus.
Is this going to be some kind of fucking artifact?
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, she pulled it out of her pocket and the green arrow went right towards the transwarp conduit on the screen. I'm like,
What was that guy's name? Captain Cranston?
Yeah,
Captain Craster.
This Captain Craster has got some magic compass. Get his dark material shit out of my Star Trek, man.
Maybe that is Q. He's got the magic compass.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know that because I didn't get this on first watch, but they are not going to meet with Clancy's squadron. They're bypassing Deep Space 12 and going right towards this homeworld, and they're going to be intercepted by all of the Romulans. So I really don't know I don't know. I hope this synth planet's got some kind of badass defense systems, because it seems like they're going to be overmatched a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to find on that synth planet. I don't know if it's going to be mostly wiped out with maybe a small handful of remaining synths, if it's going to be a thriving synth society.
That's going to be hard to believe, right?
The other side of the planet from Maddox's lab or something. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect either.
But I am kind of excited. I want to see what Star Trek's vision of... I guess it's not going to be like their full vision of a synthetic society, but it would be sort of the beginnings of that.
How many more episodes do we have?
I think it's just 2.
Just 2?
9 and 10.
It's feeling very cliffhangery.
It is, yeah. That's what I mean when they're taking their sweet time getting this crew together to really feel like a crew. They're kind of they're borderline taking too long for that, in my opinion. I want to feel something good about this team by the end of the season.
I think you will. I think the end of the season is where they'll have like some kind of like crew shot and they're all together and they're welded together into an effective and they're going to take that into next season. But I don't think it's unfair to ask for 10 episodes to kind of have that happen.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, let's get to our feedback. If you would like to send us some through Subspace, of course, do it through Picard@baldmove.com.
Send mine at transwarp speed. Otherwise, I won't get it in time.
Yeah. I was trying to make a Pop 3 SMTP joke, but, the SMTW transwarp. Anyway, Seth did all the things. He sent it right. Picard@baldmove.com. Put a subject on there. It says, first, I want to talk about Soji's head tilt. You and I had a kind of a problem with that last episode because my impression is she's been subtly doing it throughout the series thus far, and Dodge did it once she was around, but the most obvious one being from Soji was right before the what the fuck hall sliding scene a few episodes ago. Narek says some nonsense about the Borg having rituals, and she cocks her head like Data. Of course, considering what followed, I'm not surprised it was overlooked. Yeah, and I just feel like it wasn't... The head tilt she did in front of Riker was like a trademark Data head tilt.
It's exaggerated.
Yeah, like they should have kept it, being a little bit more subtle. But then maybe if Riker calls it out, I don't know. That's weird. I said, I heard the click clacks of keyboards writing in the background of that scene. But fair point. The both sisters did it, and
I haven't noticed it. And you're probably right. It's because they were sliding around in their socks.
Disturbing.
I got distracted.
Disturbing. As for Picard, I think they're purposely making him seem older than Patrick Stewart is. You have to remember that Picard is about 2 decades older than Patrick. Picard was born in 2305, and the year is set as 2399. So while Stewart's in his 70s, Picard would be in his 90s. Yeah, no, fair point. And they actually talked about that on the Ready Room, where Frakes said the big difference between this Patrick Stewart and new is that he's got this whole other vulnerable dimension that you never thought of him as having like 30 years ago. And it's really taken his performance to the next level. And I feel pretty good about what I said last week about Patrick Stewart playing up the oldness and then dropping it in that Ready Room scene, because I haven't seen him be that kind of like, I'm an old man. I need a young Romulan by my side. He hasn't. He's put his dentures back in for every other scene. I think he's in good shape from here on out. Oscar sent us the following. I was born in 1972, so my nostalgia meter goes crazy with shows like Stranger Things and Young Sheldon. Gen Xers represent. I really can't remember watching too much Star Trek, the original series, but I love Star Trek The Next Generation. I hear you guys and understand your criticism of Picard, but for me personally, I wasn't really looking for the show to be an extension of The Next Generation. You're absolutely right on some of the boneheaded things they do, but the overall feel is okay with me. I'm really writing you to beg and implore you to watch the Orville.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Voyager.
Voyager's 1A.
Flip the fuck out.
Orville's definitely 1B of people recommending us to watch.
I am 125% more likely to watch the Orville.
Same
Voyager.
Here. Probably 300%. I'm pretty dead set against Voyager at this point. But so he says that Orville is everything that TNG was, but maybe funnier and tackles modern day issues like the TNG, like the Next Generation used to do. So he also wants to hear a podcast from us. That's not going to happen, but I might actually check out the Orville because I've wanted to.
Yeah, same here.
All right, here is the anti-take. Scott comes at us. I love Patrick Stewart, but I really want to love the show, but so far I've only been able to kind of sort of like it. After watching Broken Pieces, I can describe my feelings using the language of a new Star Trek brand. I don't fucking like this show. Now I could rage on and on about my problems with this latest episode, but I'm sure you guys will cover it. So I leave you with a quote from TNG that best suits my opinions. From The Royale, Riker reading the late astronaut's diary. Do you remember this episode?
The one where they're stuck in the casino for the entire, and they have to buy it to get out of it.
Yeah. The astronaut said, I hold no malice for my benefactors, for they could not possibly know the hell they've put me through. It was such a badly written TV show, filled with endless cliches and shallow characters, that I shall welcome death when it comes. That's because the whole thing of that is like these aliens found this, like Apollo era astronaut through some kind of transwarp fuckery, crash land on their planet. They had no idea about humans, but this guy had a shitty spy novel based on this casino. So they recreated everything, his existence, to revolve around this. And he was just stuck in this like shitty, potboiler book, and he couldn't escape it. Should have tried winning all the money, dude.
Riker, Worf, and
Data
gets stuck.
Data fixed a trick dice and then went on a roll.
He just crushes it in his hand.
Yeah, that's a good episode. All right.
Let me talk about Star Trek Picard in its own language. It's a waste of space. I'm kidding. It's not that bad.
No, in fact, like, again, if this were any other show, I probably would not put up with it. But I really like Star Trek, and there's enough Star Trek in this that I think is neat. Like I said, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. Like, this felt like a two-parter, Next Generation. Like, the Borg cube and space and all these Borg, and 7 and 9 becoming the Queen temporarily. Like, that's yeah. You didn't get to see that much action on your average TN. You didn't.
You didn't get to see it.
I didn't ken how much action does. No, I'm not gonna try a Scottish accent, but yeah, no, you didn't see that kind of action on a consistent basis in Star Trek back in the day.
I agree. You didn't.
You didn't. All right. Well, we willed you. Wait, we will. I don't know. What am I even trying to do? You're the guy that can pull off a Scottish accent. We're gonna be back next week, sans accent work, to talk about the penultimate episode of Picard, apparently.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing that on Monday afternoon like we do. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining with us here. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Jim.
See ya.